Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how you can configure extended access control list. So in the previous class, which was on this topology here, we learned how we can configure standard access control list. So guys, suppose you have not watched this class, kindly I will leave a link on the description part. Click on the link and watch that class, because it's very important for this one. Okay, it's very important that you watch that first class before you can watch this one, because most of the functionalities that we are going to implement here, we already did them on the first class. So this just is like a recap and a slight modification that we will make on the configuration. Okay, so extended access control list. Guys, in that previous class we said that in standard access control list, the rules are applied on the router's interface to filter traffic based on the source IP address. Okay, but now in extended access control lists, the rules are applied on the router's interface to filter traffic based on the source and destination IP address, source and destination port numbers, and other parameters. That's why it's called extended access control list. So this is the topology. This is the topology that we implemented yesterday, and in this topology, guys, we were restricting this computer and this computer from communicating with these servers here. Okay. And we said to configure access control list, let's assume you have this topology here. Guys, the first thing that you do is to assign IP addresses. You assign IP address to the host devices and to the router's interfaces. Okay? For the router's interfaces, I did them manually. And for the host computers, I used DCP server configuration. So the first configuration, the first step is IP configuration. Then the next step is to configure routing protocol, because we have two routers here. Okay, so for the routing protocol we used OSPF, and these are the configuration. Then finally, the final step was to configure standard access control list. Okay, of which the rules applies that access control list 1 deny this IP address, this 1.3, with any subnet mask, meaning this subnet mask matches this IP address. Okay, the same way as to deny this IP address with this subnet mask. And finally, you permit any source IP address. Okay, then you implement these rules on an interface. For example, this is the interface that is connected to these servers, right? So you implement the rules here on this interface. Okay, so guys, let's start. I'll modify here and say extended access control list. For access control list, it's the same process. Okay, so I'll just delete some things here that we don't need, because we did them yesterday. I'll use the same topology because we did them yesterday. And suppose you have not watched the class, kindly click on the link that I'll leave on the description part. Alright guys, so this is a command to configure access control list. Okay, and which access control is standard access control. Okay guys, so let's begin our discussion. Remember, when we were configuring standard access control list, we use these configurations here. Access list 1 deny this source address, IP address. Okay, then access list 1 still deny this source also. Then the same access list 1 permit any source IP address, right? Then you implement these rules on these interfaces. on this interface, because it's in this interface that is connected to our restricted zone. Okay, you implement this way. You enter that interface and you enter which command? IP access group 1. See, it was access list 1. Now access group 1 out. Okay, alright guys, so let's go to extended access control list. For the extended access control list, guys, we said that the rule filters traffic based on the source and destination IP address, and if you specify the port numbers, the rule will filter the traffic based on the source and destination port numbers and other parameters. Okay, and we want to make the changes also on this router, and remember, it's on the same router that we configured this access list, okay, for the standard ACLs, and it's in the same router that we want to configure extended ACLs. Okay, so the first access list was access list 1 for the standard ACLs, and now for the extended ACLs you can choose any number, and in our case let's just choose 10. Okay, and we said it filters traffic based on the source and destination IP address. So let's say this is the source, okay, with the subnet mask, and we don't want this source to access which destination. Let's say server 1. Server 1 is of 2.4. As you can see here, server 1 is 2.4. So we don't want a source of 192.168.1.3 with this subnet to access a destination address of 192.168.2.4, okay, with the subnet mask of 0.0.0.0.0, meaning this subnet mask, it will match this IP address. Another thing, guys, that I'm forgetting, in the case of extended access list, we include access list, this one, deny IP. So here we include IP, this one, right? Okay, and now let's go to the second case. It's the same thing. So I'll just copy. It's the same thing, right? We include the same number for the access list 10. It's access list 10, deny IP, this source, as you can see, 1.4, to which destination? 2.4. So I'll just copy and paste. So these two IP addresses, these source IP addresses, the two, will not be able to access this server here, okay, because the rules specified that they should be denied. Okay, and now let's go to the next line. Access list 10 permit IP any. Very simple. Access list 10 permit IP any source and any destination IP address. Okay, and now you want to apply these rules here on this interface. So the first thing is that you enter that interface first, then you apply the rule. So for the case of extended access control list, you say IP access group 10, it is 10, okay, then it's in now. Remember, for the case of standard, we were using out, such that in extended, any incoming traffic will have to observe these rules here. Okay, any incoming traffic on this port or interface will have to observe the rules applied here. Okay, so guys, after implementing these configurations on this router here, we shall have achieved configuring extended control list. So it's just this configuration. So it's access list 10. Oh, there's something that I'm forgetting. Access control list ranges. So when you're specifying access control list, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going that way, there are those ranges that are for standard and some for extended. So let me just Google. So for standard IP access lists are numbered 1 to 99 or from 1300 to 1999. Okay, and for extended we start from 100 to 199 or from 2000 to 2699. So I was wrong here. I'll come here and modify, okay, because we want this access control list to be extended, and for extended one we start from 100 to 190, from 100 to 199, or from 2000 to 2699. So I'll just modify it to be 101, 101, and 101. Then here also to be 101 for extended access control list. But for standard 1 to 99. Okay. So this is extended access list. So the range should start from 100. Okay. Alright. So guys, what we'll do basically, we're done with our configuration. We can copy them directly, or we just go to this router and start configuring. So let's just go to this router and say enable config. Okay, then access list 101, then deny IP, which IP? 192.168.1.3.0.0.0.0 to which source? 192.168.2.4, right? The server. So subnet mask of 0.0.0.0.0. Okay, access list this one, deny this source IP address to this destination IP address, and you hit enter, as you can see. Then another one, you deny which source? 1.4. As you can see here, there were two, 1.4 and 1.3. okay, from accessing the server, which is 2.4. So go to the same router and hit enter, 1.4, and I hit enter. Then what do? You say this command, access list is on permit IP any. So access list 101 permit IP any. Okay, any IP source, any source IP address, and any destination IP address, and you hit enter. Okay, and finally you implement the rules on this interface. So I'll go to the interface and say interface gig 0/1, hit enter, and say IP access group 101 in, hit enter, sorry, and hit enter. Do right. So let's test. We said that these two IP addresses will not be able to communicate with this server. So let's start with 1.3. So I'll go to these computers and check which computer is 1.3. That is 1.4, 1.2, 1.5, and 1.3. So I'll go to this C again. This is 1.3. 1.3 will not be able to ping this server. Okay, so let me just try ping 192.168.2.4. as you can see, destination host unreachable. Okay, and let's try again to 1.4. 1.4 will not be able to also ping 192.168.2.4. destination was unreachable. Okay, and so PC2 is 1.5. 1.5 will ping 2.4, as you can see. As you can see, it's pinging successfully. Okay, so that's the way through which you can configure access control list. We learned how to configure standard and extended list, and now let's just check them on the router and say do show access lists. We created 2 access lists. As you can see, the first one was standard IP access list, this one, then the second one was extended IP access list, which is 101. Okay, very simple, guys. It's very simple. Just this simple command, and you follow the video keenly, you shall have achieved configuring access control list using standard or extended way. And basically that will mark the end of today's class. If you like our video, kindly give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. Bye, and see you again next class.